Welcome, friends. This is Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric.
And I'm David.
And today we're going to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals and really just the past week. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. So, David, the week started off kind of so-so, earned a split in a pretty dramatic fashion against the Phillies and then swept the Pirates. So overall, a 5-2 record.
Yeah, and there's a lot to tell going on in those games. Actually, one you could talk about the lack of overall hitting, but the positive is we've had some timely hitting, and then you can talk about finally our starters actually going deep into games.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to take a look at is the NL Central standings. This is after Sunday's games. So the Brewers are right there at the top of the National League. They are 17-11. The Cardinals are a game back at 16-12. Then you look at really a bit of a logjam for third to fifth. The Reds are in third place at 13-14. A game back of them is the Pirates and the Cubs in last place still. So that's fun.
Always
fun. The Cardinals, if someone, let's say it's February, pitchers and catchers are reporting and someone just comes to you and says, hey, at the beginning of May, the Cardinals are going to be a game out of first place. You'd take that. That's fine. You'd rather be in first, but there's nothing terrible about being a game out right now.
No, not at all.
So, yeah, what you mentioned with the pitching, it's huge. It's a combination of things. I think the biggest one is the pitchers are going deeper into games. Over the past 7 games, here's what the Cardinals pitchers did in terms of innings pitched. 9, that being Wainwright's complete game. 7 1/3, 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 6 innings, and then Sunday's 8 innings from Carlos Martinez that were spectacular. You can't ask for a whole lot more than that, especially when one of those 5 innings was Johan Oviedo, who is, was just called up as a spot start to give the guys an extra day of rest.
Yeah, it gives the guys in the bullpen a chance to rest because they've been used so much, especially when you have guys like Jordan Hicks who, are coming off surgery, and he essentially got pulled from a game due to some kind of muscle issue. They haven't said if he's like severely injured or anything, but it gives you that flexibility to take him out, rest him, and give him a chance to heal if there's a need to.
Yeah, and it's, that's important for the entire season, but the Cardinals are in the middle of a stretch of 17 games in 17 days. You got to find ways to keep the pitchers fresh and starters going deep in the games. That does that. That's huge. And not only are they going deeper into games, they're not giving up runs. Over the past week, no Cardinal starter gave up more than 3 runs. The worst start you had over the week was 5 innings, 3 runs. You can deal with that as your worst start all day. That's fine.
Well, and just to put in the context, 2 weeks ago, they were like dead last in the MLB giving up runs, and now they're 14th.
So yeah, they've taken a run and a half off the team ERA?
Yeah, because it was at 5, now it's down at 3.86, which is like phenomenal as a team.
Now that goes, the team has an ERA, an entire team ERA of 3.86. The offense has a batting average of 227, which seems putrid. Both those numbers, I think, are a reflection. The fact that they're not dead last or down at the bottom, it's a reflection of the fact that hitting is just not happening all across Major League Baseball. The Cardinals are a part of that. Their 227 batting average as a team is horrible in historical context, but right now it's 19th in Major League Baseball. the team average has climbed a little bit. I believe it was like 219, then it was 221. It's up a small handful of points. It's held steady 19th, 20th. It's 19th right now in Major League Baseball. That's weird. That's a very low average to be in the middle third of Major League Baseball in terms of hitting. But that's,
it's really
there's a whole lot of that's a whole nother video we could do about that. Now,
I was going to say, it is really astonishing.
Yeah. Now, David, one of the big things that this offense has really been terrible at over the past few years, strikeouts, especially when compared to taking walks. And, they don't seem great, but part of that is, again, hitting being terrible. But in terms of comparing to what everyone else in baseball is doing, Cardinals, they're decent. They're not bad.
Right in the middle, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask for better, but for the most part, they're putting together good bats. I mean, you're seeing a lot of guys go deep into counts, maybe not walking. I know there's a couple guys on the club who are having an issue where they hit the ball hard, but it's always right at someone. I mean, right. Point in case, you can look straight at Carpenter.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story I don't want to get into.
How about Carpenter? This is the weirdest thing in the world. He's got 3 3-run home runs, 2 of them off the bench. That accounts for all of his home runs. I believe all but 1 of his RBIs. And he's got like 1, 2 other hits besides that.
Right.
It's so weird.
I agree. And I also think it's important to mention within this last week, we now have our full outfield back in play with Tyler O'Neill and Harrison Bader back in play. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes coming along. Our defensively, it's already been a huge improvement. So it'll be fun to watch to see how that develops.
Defensively, I don't know if there are going to be many, if any, better outfields in Major League Baseball. That is a fast, that is an athletic outfield. You got 3 dudes out there athletically, and that's great. It's all about O'Neill and Bader putting it together consistently at the plate. And hey, Bader had himself a 3-run homer. He was the entire offense, with that home run on Sunday.
Well, and Tyler O'Neill's been showing some flashes with power too. He's had a couple of 2-run home run games. I think he'll find himself to be a 2020 guy here soon, eventually.
He's got the capability, to be sure.
Yeah.
Now, looking ahead to the coming week, it's Monday right now. In case you're watching this later in the week, Cardinals are about to kick off 4-game series against the Mets, another NL East team, and then they're going to face their first NL West team over the weekend when the Colorado Rockies come to town. Say hi to their former teammate Arenado there. So, Dave, what are you looking for? As a takeaway from the past weekend going forward here.
I would like to see the pitching stay strong. And then I would love to see some of the bats that have been really quiet pick up. I know Goldschmidt's been kind of a slump. Yeah. DeYoung needs to pick it up a little bit. And then now that Bader and O'Neill are back, I'd like to see them get into some sort of rhythm and get something going. I mean, if you hit over 220 right now, that seems to be doing well for most of Major League Baseball. So if they can get past that number and get on base, I think we'll have a number of possible wins.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the offense. The pitching has been crazy over the past 2 weeks. I think you have to anticipate that it's going to drop off to some extent. I think you still need it to be good, but it's been crazy good. So if it just comes back down to earth and is just like a pretty solid, the offense has to come up with more consistency. I think, you look at Wainwright's game, he gave up 2 solo home runs, went 9 innings, 2 pitches away from a complete game shutout. but the Cardinals didn't do anything offensively. That was a loss for Waino. That can happen like once a season. But with the Cardinal offense, games like that have been far too common. So the offense just needs to piece it together. I think Tommy Edmonds still doing well. Dylan Carlson is turned into the stud that I think a lot of people were expecting or at least hoping for. Goldschmidt in that 3 spot. He's been in a 3-week slump here. He needs to come out of that because that is protection for Dylan Carlson, excuse me. And, it makes it harder to pitch to just work around Arenado if you got a guy right there ahead of him. Goldschmidt, if he's getting on base, there's nowhere to put Arenado. That's my point.
It's also worth noting that Miles Michaelis is starting to throw. That he has a 4-inning outing, I believe they say, coming up down in Memphis within a week or so. So we might see him back with the club within a week or two, actually. Anyway, that's all we have for this week's Under the Arch Sports. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for next week's Cardinal update.
See you guys next time.